Hello all, Nikolai 54 here, yet with another update on AAGC, Hollywood Star Cuts, new startup, making some wave with updates. So let's get into it, folks. What's the latest? Been some tweets out, in the market here on X. So what does all this mean? We're going to break it down here real quick here for this video. I'll keep it short and sweet. So it looks like AAGC, guys, is kind of transitioning right now from a salon-based business into a retail product company as well as the salon business is going today. We've gotten some really great updates here lately over on X on the Hollywood Star Cuts account. The latest updates kind of confirm here what we've been thinking with the product rollout in select locations. They mentioned Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. This is a typical test first retail strategy before scaling with any large retail big box store. The company also indicated a coordinated PR release will occur once the products are physically on the shelves. So this does take some time to make it all happen. And this is actually kind of good for me to see because, this is kind of the world I live in as well. Understand, that this stuff isn't just, announced and all of a sudden it's on a shelf somewhere and it's good to go. There's a lot of planning that takes place. Let's see how this goes here. The company talked about coordinated PR release will occur. So, we're going to see some news come out. I'm excited. So, we definitely, want to focus on the execution side over, let's say, a premature promotion. And I think AAGC is handling that very well. So key near-term catalyst that they also mentioned is a potential 7-figure purchase order expected in tranches. If confirmed, this would represent real revenue, not projections. However, it's not yet officially filed. So confirmation is going to be critical there to keep an eye on. On the share structure side, the company increased issued shares. This is something that I know some folks have reached out to me about. They placed 100 million shares into an escrow tied to potential acquisition that is happening. Very interested to see what this is all about. At the same time, ongoing stock buybacks have been stated. It's in the filings. So this is going to be an interesting situation, which could offset any kind of dilution if this thing is executed well. So this creates a balanced view here, thinking about it. Positive side of things, the buybacks, which we can see, we've been seeing those for many, many months, quarter over quarter. We'll have to see how this all plays out. The share increases, that's not anything that we ever like to see. Because, what does that mean for the company and for the shareholders? Is there going to be a dilution potential for this to happen? AAGC had mentioned that the effort is there to control the supply. They have bought back, countless, over 100 million shares over the time. And, that is what they are looking to utilize mostly to make this acquisition happen and return the shares that they just put in escrow back into the treasury. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this all goes. Approximately right now we're trading at a $1.5 million market cap. This is extremely low for what's going on for the company, for us as shareholders. As they're reporting multi-million-dollar revenue and retail expansion as we kind of sit here today, right? So if execution continues, retail shelves are confirmed, purchase order is finalized, revenue growth is sustained, then valuation on this one here could re-rate significantly, potentially into the half a penny to 2 cent range, just depending on scale and consistency with this one. Major unlock remains the completed audit, right? The infamous audit, which would increase credibility, tenfold, and allow for broader, investor participation. So once that audit is finalized, that's a whole different animal with this company. And thinking about what that's going to do for the stock price is going to be, it's going to be a great story once this re-rates and we have a higher valuation multiple for sure. So the bottom line right now is AAGC is not just a story. We are entering this execution type phase of this company. Very interesting company. I still like this one a lot. It's no longer just a story about what's going on. Now we're starting to see some things come up in the filings. If you look at the filings that they just posted for the last quarter, boy, it's very interesting that we have all this money that's been outlaid for the audit expenses, right? For the legal expenses, right? Why that's because most likely that is leading to, we've been spending a lot of money on the auditors and the lawyers and trying to get this across the finish line. So I thought that was very encouraging to see that in the filings. Of course, that's a massive over $200,000 worth of fees, but that means that these guys are continuing to work, spend money where, it makes sense for the company overall health. And I think that is very, very good. So, a couple catalysts here, the confirmation of the purchase order, product physically on shelves, that we can see, pictures, and, there's a joint PR, man, that's going to be amazing for this company. And it's just, in the update on the audit progress, right? That is all, I think, coming soon. It just makes sense with what we have seen, what we've been reading for this company. And I know a lot of folks are getting, antsy, I guess you could say, regarding, we need to see something. We need to see something. And I think it's coming. I think we're going to see it soon. The clock is ticking. I think the next couple of weeks are going to be key to see how we, get some validation on what's going on. The re-rate of what's going to happen with the stock, I think, in my opinion, is going to be much higher, right? And it remains, right, to be seen. This is an OTC at the end of the day. We are in OTC territory today. But I don't think that is for very long, right? This is just a setup at this point, that looks really, really good. We're at the bottom of the channel of the stock price. So nothing is ever a guarantee in the OTC, but it looks pretty promising for where we are today. Really, the sky's going to be the limit if we get all these things confirmed, verified, the audit comes through. I think it's going to be an amazing story for us to be involved in, watch, and to see at the end of the day. So listen, that's it. That's where we are. Very encouraging this last week. It sounds like there's a lot of things going on. Quarterly was solid. We're seeing some huge increases over the last year. More to come. The annual is about done here in May. Once that May is through and we've got the next annual posted, I think we're going to see a lot of news coming. I know that they had talked about once the annual is posted, there's going to be a conference call, kind of getting everybody together and kind of talking about where we are for the year, what's coming, what they're working on, all the details. Love to see that audit, come across the finish line and, be announced. So we shall see, right? Love to see the comments, keep reaching out. If there's anything that, love to know what your thoughts are. Post it below. If you find this helpful, share it, share the video, like it, and we'll kind of keep moving forward here as we progress. So guys, appreciate your time, and we'll see you out in the markets. Thanks.